The NHL's back in the Olympics? This can only mean one thing.
What is up? Welcome back to the least consistent show on Brady alongside Nicky and Zack Steinman.
We're back.
What is up? Welcome back to the annual edition of the Benders podcast. We're back for a very important topic, but obviously, you know who's here. Brady Denniston, Nicky Moses, Zack Steinman. Olympic hockey's back. The 2026 Milan Cortina Winter Olympics will feature NHL talent, best on best hockey in an Olympic setting in an arena that is still not finished being built. So we're going to talk about all that here for you. But first of all, boys, it's been a little less than a year. How we doing? What's new?
Yeah, it's been a minute. Feels good to be back, recording, talking some hockey. I don't know. I'm glad to be back.
Yeah. It's been a bit. Definitely been a hot minute, but at some random point in the year when you don't think about it, you'll get your notification saying, "Yeah, look, the Bender Pod's back." So here we are.
Here we are.
So we won't go through too much chit chat. Let's just get into Olympic hockey. I have all the teams written out here with some talking points, some X factors, so to speak. We have them listed via group. So we're going to lead off with Canada, and we're going to wrap up with the United States. We're not talking about Italy because they're irrelevant, but we're gonna get into this, starting with Team Canada. We'll let Zack take the lead on this. Zack, what do you think is going to be the biggest factors that are going to help Team Canada pull off another gold?
Not sure. This is guy 97. I think McDavid's his name. Pretty good at hockey. He's gonna be a huge help. Another good guy. Some say he's like the best defenseman in the league, and he went to Mass. Cale Makar, ever heard of him?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good hockey player. Has a pretty good speed. Yeah, I mean, you have the world's best talent, McDavid. Another guy, it's Makar guy's teammate, McKinnon. Ever heard of him? He's pretty good. Nate McKinnon's also going to be there. Cale Makar. I mean, goaltending is going to be up in the air, I guess, which I give the U.S. more of a hand on. But yeah, Canada, they're going to be very good. I mean, we saw what happened to Four Nations. Shout out Connor McDavid. It's going to be fun. Obviously, if we're talking international hockey, I think it's safe to say the World Juniors didn't end up the way both of our countries would want it to this past year. So I think the next competition of international hockey is going to be the Olympics. So I guess the national pride is going to carry across the world.
Nicky, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it. Canada is a good team. And going back to the Four Nations, like obviously really close series there between USA and Canada. Super fun to watch. I thought it was a success. We talked about that last year a lot. But this year, obviously more teams, more players, obviously it's the Olympics. It's the biggest it gets. And I think it's so cool that the NHL finally has this coming back and all these players get to go play and represent their country. It's been so long, and I don't know. I think it's going to be a good tournament. Personally, I got Team USA winning. I mean, a little biased, I guess, but
Wow.
I think, like, branching off into talking about Team USA, I just personally think that they got more depth, and I do think that they did make some. I think both teams made some wrong choices with who they selected.
I'd agree.
Although I guess we're going to see. I mean, we'll get more into that in a little bit, I guess, but that's just my thoughts.
Yeah,
I agree, and we will circle back to Team USA. I do want to talk about a few pitfalls that Team Canada has. Goaltending. As for their starter, it's going to be St. Louis Blues backstop Jordan Binnington. He's proven to be inconsistent, and last I checked, the Olympics don't have any elimination games at TD Garden. So will we see him? Will we see him fold under the pressure of having to represent his country? And the other two things I wanted to mention is that two of the maybe questionable selections by the squad coached by Tampa Bay Lightning head coach John Cooper. It's Braden Point and Brandon Hagel, who haven't been as well producing, but I think that their assignments to the forward core might have left a few snubs off for Team Canada just so that John Cooper has a little bit of familiarity. Boys, your thoughts?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I guess I'll take the first cut here, but there's this guy who plays in the Blackhawks. His name is Connor Bedard, and he's pretty good at hockey. And I think I'd go as far to say he's better than Anthony Cirelli, who was also
I forgot about
chosen by
Cirelli, him too.
Canada. So a lot of, I mean, we saw this at Four Nations as well, where John Cooper, obviously the coach of the Lightning, likes to take players from his squad because he thinks they have really good chemistry. And I mean, you have a lot of Canadians on a really good Tampa Bay team. I could get the reasoning, but I feel like you still missed off on a couple guys. I mean, Mark Scheifele's having a terrific year, and he was snubbed off this Olympic roster. And I mean, you can go down the list. There's so many. You could build a whole Canadian B team, and they'd still probably wipe the floor with, I'd say, at least 75% of the countries who are competing. So Bedard's probably my biggest snub because, I mean, it's Connor Bedard. But I think I can also go with, I mean, this is Brady Alley right here. The U.S. leaving Cole Caulfield off of their roster. I mean, as a Flyers fan, I wish we had Caulfield. I mean, he's an unbelievable player. I think the U.S. screwed up there by leaving him off their roster. And I guess you could say Lane Hudson, too. He's a pretty good defender. Two key players on a good Montreal team who aren't going to the Olympics who would definitely help them.
I do want to jump in here and mention those aren't the only two players that USA left off the roster. I think that the biggest snub outside of my bias picks in Caulfield and Hudson, Jason Robertson didn't make the team this year, and he's proven himself to be one of the better American skaters in the National Hockey League. And I think it was just a lapse in judgment from the management core of Team USA.
Without a doubt. I mean, him and Caulfield are two of the top 4 leading goal scorers in the NHL up to this point. And like leaving both of them off, like I just think is almost criminal. I mean, you could argue that like they already have like the goal scoring ability and like they need like more depth type players and like players that could fill in those like lower lines. But at the same time, when guys are putting up points like that, like you don't just leave them off. I mean, same with like going back to Bedard, like obviously he was killing it in the beginning of his season before he got injured. And like, does that injury, is that the reason he's left off this roster for Canada? Like, or like, what are they thinking there? Because like, I know
I heard this, to cut you off, but I heard the injury that Bedard had played no effect in his choice of being on the team.
That's interesting because he was literally
he was having the best year throughout his 3
on a shitty Blackhawks team too, not to mention. And I know they were talking about it either going to be him or Celebrini, and obviously like they're both phenomenal, and Celebrini is like at the top of the league right now. I mean, all those young guys, even Schaefer too. Like these guys are like young players that could play, and they all like could have a spot on this team. And they just, at the end of the day, they had to make whatever choices they thought were best.
Yeah, and playing favorites could play a role.
Yeah, for sure.
So, Team Canada, obviously, one of the most, if not the most dominant team in international hockey history. Only time will tell whether that keeps up into the 2026 Olympic contests. So next up in Group A, we have Czechia. Not a whole lot of players that I necessarily want to spend too much time on. But, I mean, clearly you have your leadership guys. You have your David Pasternoks. You have your Martin Necas. You have your Radko Gudas. You have your, Philip Hronek, Tomáš Hertl, Andre Palat, Pavel Zacha, guys that have played a lot of games in the NHL. The goaltending, personally, I find to be very, I don't know if young's the right word, but inexperienced, because you have Lukas Dostal, you have Karel Vejmelka, and you have Dan Vladar as your backstops for Team Czechia. Zach, you're a Flyers fan. You've seen Vladar play a lot. What is your trust in the goaltending threesome there?
I think, obviously, coming off the World Juniors, I still have a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth of Czechia beating Canada 3 years in a row. But I'll try to throw the bias aside. their goalies in general, I think, could be really sneaky good because obviously Anaheim's been a bit better this year than they have been in past seasons. I mean, they're on a downtrend right now, but at the start of the year, Dostal was really, really good. He was really hot for them. Vejmelka's been great for a sneaky good Utah team, and no bias here, but I think this has been the best year Dan Vladar's had overall in total. He's started, I'd say, majority of the games for the Flyers. Obviously, right now he's injured, waiting to come back, and obviously because this huge snowstorm going on in North America, practices have been canceled and whatever. He should be back soon, but I think they have. I think I'd call it. I don't even call it a coin toss. I think they're just going to have to make a choice because obviously you're going to carry. They'll carry the 3 goalies in case someone gets hurt, right? But I think Dostal and Vejmelka are the better goalies overall. But I think Vladar's kind of played his way into, you know what, he's been good enough this year that they could maybe give him a shot.
Yeah, I do want to interject here and talk a little bit about Dan Vladar because as someone that follows a lot of minor league AHL hockey, Vladar came up through the Boston Bruins system, ended up making his way over to the Calgary organization, and now I think he's found a really good home in Philadelphia. He spent a little bit of time backing up, who was it? I think David Riddick in Calgary, but other than that, not a whole lot of NHL experience going into the year. But honestly, really great success story to see Vladar really flourishing with Philly. Prayers to him for a speedy recovery. But yeah, I think it's awesome that he's going to get the chance to represent his country in Milan. Nicky, you want to add?
He also really seems like, so he also he's shown that he really, I don't know, he shows that he really likes Philly. He seems like he's at home. As you said, good success story here, and hopefully, I don't know, the best pans out. Nicky?
Yeah, I think the Czechia team honestly has they're like a sneaky good team, honestly. Like you saw how they played in the World Juniors. Like obviously all those guys aren't playing on the Olympic team, but just the country as a whole is obviously getting a lot better at hockey and producing a lot better players. And I just think it's cool to see. And looking at their roster, they do have a good team around them, for not being one of the big 4, hockey countries, that being USA, Canada, Russia, Finland, Sweden, those type of countries, So I think they have a good team, and it's going to be interesting to see how they do. I know, they have a chance to probably upset some teams, and it'll be fun to watch.
So yeah, other than the guys that I listed earlier, the only players on Czechia's roster with NHL experience, you have defenseman Jan Ruda, you have forwards Andre Kasha and Dominik Kubalik. So not a whole lot of depth for the Czechian team, but I mean they've proven time and time again that they're still a really decent team.
Mm-hmm.
Is Thomas Hertl not playing?
No, I mentioned Tomas Hertl earlier. He's in the. He's in it.
I was gonna say maybe I didn't hear, but I was gonna mention he's someone who, I mean, playing with Mark Stone on a Vegas team that's been pretty solid this year. He could help that team. He has a lot of veterancy leadership to him. And he's been in the league for, I want to say, more than 10 years now. And
something like that.
He's a pretty gritty guy, and he does things well. So he could help them out a lot as second, third liner maybe.
Yeah, I think that when you're coming with veteran leadership, obviously David Pastrnak, he's been the face of the Czechian franchise for a long time now. He's been around the league for a bit, but I think the other veteran guy that you can look to is Radko Gudas, captain of the Anaheim Ducks right now. He's probably going to be
legend.
I don't know if he's going to be in a top 6 role necessarily, but I think he's a guy who can, come with an alternate captaincy and really lead a lot of the young guys that we're seeing, the less experienced guys who take Team Czechia or who play for Team Czechia.
Yeah.
All right. If we're all set with the Czech Republic, we'll move on. I just want to briefly talk about Team France. Only one NHLer on the squad. It's member of your Montreal Canadiens, Alex Texier. Other than that, no real NHL experience. The one thing I did want to talk about, there was a bit of controversy a few months back when Team France released their roster, is there's a player by the name of Tim Bozon. He is a French-born player, and he's supposedly the greatest French international hockey player of all time, and he got snubbed from the roster. So that's the only real notable thing that's happened with Team France up until now. But if you guys have anything to add, feel free to go for it.
All
No,
for
I
other
mean-
is we keep intertwining here. Go, Nicky, go.
Well, like I heard about that situation, what you're talking about. I think that's like weird, but like, how do they even decide those things? Is like, especially if he's like known as like this star, international like athlete. I don't know. I think that's weird, but I really don't know much about Team France. But I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even hear about that story in general. I just know, I mean, France in general, I think obviously Texie is the one guy that comes to mind, and then Flyers legend Pierre-Edouard Bellemare is the only other guy that rings a bell when it comes to the French national team. So, yeah,
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's really it. I mean, they're not going to be one of the best teams. If not, I think they'll be done pretty quickly. But
That's such a
that's really
French
all.
name. That's the most French name I've
Yeah.
ever heard. Like, what a name! Wow.
There's definitely worse.
Just
for a
on the
hockey
roster,
player, that's good.
we got Stéphane Dacosta. We have Pierre Crinon. We have Hugo Gallet. We have Enzo Cantagallo.
Enzo,
Yeah.
what a name.
Florian Chakiakvili. There's a lot of interesting names on here, but
For a second, I thought you were going to say Florian Xhaka.
oh no, I wish. Let's put him on the French national team. Let's just get him some experience in best on best hockey.
We're getting a Brady today.
Exactly.
He's gonna give his
Every
impersonation,
country,
so.
the best player, Brady will say their name in that nationality's accent.
We missed Czechia and Canada.
Yeah, we missed Czechia. Give us your best player on Czechia in that accent, and the best Canadian player in that accent. I'd love to hear what you got going for Canada.
So I'm not going to do that for the hope of not getting canceled, but Canada I'll do just because I want to make fun of Zack a little bit. But we'll go with Connor McDavid. All right. Anyways,
I said it.
I can't do a Swiss accent, but we're gonna talk about Team Switzerland now. The two main goaltenders that aren't like young for Team Switzerland are the only two players that I have written down that I wanted to talk about. Reto Berra, he used to play in the NHL with the Avalanche, Ducks, and I believe Panthers. I think he's no longer used to the pace of play. And then the only other healthy Swiss goalie is Leonardo Giannoni, and he's never faced NHL talent. So do we think that the goaltending issue for Team Switzerland is going to be something that proves detrimental to Team Switzerland?
Like, yeah. I mean, Switzerland's going to be better than Italy and France.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're going to be far off. Like, how many NHLers are they sending? Because I know, obviously, I think Timo Meier, but
so I
don't think there's many more.
We have Akira Schmid, Nico Hischier, Kevin Fiala, Timo Meier, Nino Niederreiter, Philip Kurashev, Pius Suter.
Okay, so maybe there's more than I thought.
Jonas Siegenthaler, JJ Moser, and then Dennis Mulligan and Sven Anderghetto, who used to play in the NHL.
Well, they got a decent squad. I mean,
so that's actually much better than I expected that they would have.
Honestly, I think that they have more depth than Team Czechia.
I guess what you're trying to go at about their goaltending situation is that those two you mentioned are going to be backing up Schmid. So
yeah, to be perfectly honest with you, until I just pulled up the roster, I had no idea that Schmid had even made the team. I didn't even realize he was Swiss, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I didn't either. So I mean, Schmid will help. He's an NHL goalie. I mean, obviously he backs up Aiden Hill or Carter Hart when they're in Vegas, or I don't know if Vegas carries all three goalies at once, but he has that NHL experience. He's had, this might be his second, maybe third year, but he should hold the fort down a little bit until they start playing tougher teams.
Yeah.
Like Canada, the US. Who else?
Mm-hmm.
Nicky, do you want to add anything? Or
That moment of silence.
I was gonna say I'm trying to pass the torch around here.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, I mean, said it pretty well. There's not much to say. It's it's a battle of who's gonna outperform expectations, honestly, because like we already know like the top few teams. I mean, so it's I don't know. I feel like these guys take this tournament as an opportunity to just like have fun, show up for their home country, and who knows, maybe some players will surprise us. But I don't know enough about a lot of these guys to comment. But I like that roster. It doesn't look too bad to me with all the NHL experience.
Definitely, yeah. So that's going to do it for Group A. Moving on to Group B, we have the Finnish national team leading off. The two players that I have written down is, first of all, the youngest player on the roster, and I'm a little bit biased for writing this down because he is a member of my Montreal Canadiens, is Oliver Kapanen. He's 23 years old. He's the
That's
youngest player
not
on
the way you said it before.
Oh, boy.
Let's hear
anyways.
it. Everyone, get ready to hear Brady's Finnish accent about his favorite Finnish player.
Anyways,
Let's go.
Oliver Kapanen. He's 23. He's 23 years old. The youngest player on the roster. How quickly can a guy like Kapanen, who he's obviously played in World Junior tournaments, he's playing on one of the younger and more on the up and up teams in the NHL with better potential. How quickly can he adjust to best on best play like we're going to see in the Olympics?
I'd say he's in luck. He's playing with a top 4 team in the Olympics this year. The Finns are going to be good. I'm not sure if I give them the hand over Sweden, but the Finns will be good. They got a lot of, I'd say, not raw talent, but they got a lot of talent overall throughout the top of their, like, from their first forward line all the way down to their goalies. I mean, they have Rupe Hintz and Mikko Rantanen, who obviously play with each other in Dallas, and it won't stop there because they just have so many other players. I don't have the roster pulled up, but I'm definitely leaving some key guys off there. I mean, another Dallas star who's finished, Miro Heiskanen. I mean, having him on your first line of defense, you can't really go wrong. But I think he's in luck. He'll get some good mentoring by some other veteran Finns. And obviously, I mean, this is kind of what the national tournaments are about. You bond with other players who also come from your country, and you learn and you play for your whole entire country, your whole nation.
Yeah, I agree. I think having that experience too with like former teammates, kind of how we talked about with even Team Canada and how they took a lot of guys from that Lightning team. I think it's good to build on prior like relationships, but it's also good to make new ones during this tournament. And yeah, like you said, the Finns are going to have a strong team, and I see them going head to head with a team like Sweden. Like I think that they're comparable for sure.
They'll be close.
Yeah,
definitely. I think that Kapanen comes in with a lot of great experience that you can really build upon. He's consistently been a top 6 forward. I'd say more middle 6. He's been splitting time between the second and third line in Montreal. Doesn't get the chance to play with fellow Finnish past line mate Patrick Laine, obviously with injury. But Finland as a whole has an incredibly deep roster. Only one non-NHL player, and it's going to be defenseman Mikko Lehtinen. He's playing in the Swiss League right now. He's no longer, like we said, used to the pace of play. So honestly, if you sit a guy like Lehtinen, I think that Finland can be really like competent against teams even like USA and Canada. They're not going to blow them out of the water per se, but they're going to put up a good fight.
Yeah. What's going on with Lion anyway?
To be honest, I don't even know the whole of it. So that's
I know he's been out for a little bit.
Yeah, it's one of the unfortunate things about getting Laine in Montreal is we had a chance. We had a feeling that he was going to be injury prone, and the unfortunate truth is that he has been injury prone. So he's great leadership presence when he's out there. He's a great sniper from the circle, but it's just a matter of keeping him healthy. And unfortunately, the injury bug's gotten to him. So a great piece, but it's unfortunate we haven't seen him in his full capacity. Anything else about Finland, or are we ready to move on?
Nope.
No, I was just gonna say it's one of the big things about obviously the Olympics in general is just even not even the Olympics, it's just hockey in general, like, or even sports for that say. You go into the game, let's say you have like, I don't know, a very favored team and it's like extremely obvious. That other team that's not as favored could come out there and give you a run for your money. And I mean, we see that all the time in sports. So keep the Finns on your eyes. I could possibly see them meddling.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely think they have a chance. Even look back at last year, not to mention it, but Latvia gave Canada a pretty good run in the World Juniors.
That didn't need to be brought up.
Yeah. Anyways, but I can see the USA, Sweden, and Finland are going to be on the same echelon. If Canada can confirm, like, there's a really good chance that Canada wins gold. As much as I hate to admit it as an American, let's be honest, Canada probably will win gold. But regardless, it's going to be an absolute dogfight between USA, Sweden, and Finland. Swinland, I was going to say.
Was that a mix of Sweden, Switzerland, and Finland?
Yeah,
but it's gonna be neck and neck for those silver and bronze medals. Anyways, wrapping up with Finland, we're gonna move on to Italy. They don't have any NHLers. They have a few players whose names don't even sound Italian. I do want to go over some of these names because they're like, some of them sound Italian. Like, we got Gianluca Vallini, but then we have guys like Diego Costner and Matt Bradley.
Matt Bradley sounds so unbelievably American.
Yeah. Alex Patan. Only name that I can recognize off of this Italian team's roster, other than Thomas Larkin, because he just has the same name as Dylan Larkin, is you have Cristiano Di Giacinto, who played in the Rangers organization for a while. But other than that, no real experience playing American pro, Or not American, but North America.
Shout out Italy for having good pizza and pasta.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, they can provide the food and the unfinished arena.
Yeah, what's up with that? What's like?
I think we should talk about that for a bit, because if we're not going to talk about their roster, I feel we got to talk about how this arena is like, A, it's smaller than your regular size. B, it's unfinished. C, it has its own problems, and apparently D, there's going to be a problem for the fan seating. Like, what's going on here?
I want to say that one of the
how
problems
do you mess that up?
The locker rooms weren't done. The water pressure was bad enough that the toilets wouldn't flush and showers wouldn't work. It's a whole cacophony of problems that I'm sure that the Italian Olympic Planning Committee could have ironed out and just didn't.
Yeah, and I
had
saw
so much time.
Yeah, they were doing it must have been a few weeks ago. They were doing a game to test the ice, and there was a big hole. I think it was in the neutral zone or in around a face-off circle. There was a big hole in the ice, and they just had to stop the game. Like, the ice kind of went downwards a little. So that there's always that. And I don't know. I guess we're gonna have to see how the ice looks by a few weeks.
It's just the only thing I'm thinking is how do you you're given so much time to prepare, and this is the biggest event for winter sports there is, and obviously hockey hasn't been in the Olympics at this level in so long. It's letdown that you want this to go smoothly, you want things to look nice, you want to show how cool hockey could be at best on best, and you can't even get the arena right. It's just odd to me.
Yeah,
definitely odd, but I don't know. ideally they pull it together, because the only other options, if the ice is this bad and the conditions are this bad, the NHLPA pulls out and says, no, we don't want our players going for the safety of our players. So
And how horrible would that be?
that'd be
That would
pretty
be-
brutal. After what? This is
second or the third. We haven't had Olympic hockey with
since
NHL.
it was
players.
2014
2014. Yes, that's what I was
when
getting at.
Canada beat Sweden in Sochi.
TJ
Wow.
Oshie shootout goal.
That was pretty insane.
Yeah.
But I feel like even like that's something I was going to mention that I love about international play that we don't get to see in the NHL. You go into a shootout and you go through 3 shooters and you're like still tied. Keep using that guy. Go ahead with it. And I mean, that TJ Oshie insane insanity run in that shootout is something that's going to be like a Olympic hockey moment forever.
Everyone's seen that video. Always, like, that's like a staple for every young hockey
It's a
player
thumbnail of like every shootout video.
Yep.
All the clickbaity even.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, but Italy had one job and they couldn't get it right. So definitely not a great look if you want to host future Olympics. I know it's a huge bid to have your country and your city host the Olympics. So if this is the kind of look that you're giving, especially if it's the first time since 2014 that you're having NHL players playing the Olympics, this has been 12 years now. So it's a bad look for a country where the Olympics is so popular. We're at the halfway point now. Still in Group B. We'll go to Team Slovakia. Another time where the main issue that I want to cover is goaltending. No NHL experience whatsoever in the goaltending group. The most experience I could pick out was Minnesota Wild prospect Samuel Lavai, who plays for the Iowa Wild of the AHL. Do we want to talk a little bit about how Slovakia's been good up until this point, and this lack of experienced goaltending could be detrimental to their success in the tournament? I feel like we're on the same points here.
Obviously, yeah. I mean, goaltending's gonna be a key factor in these and like these countries with like less pro players. Like, it's definitely gonna be a challenge, but it's also a good opportunity for these guys to prove themselves too. Like you said, like I've personally never heard of this guy, but I mean, he's in the AHL. Okay, you're going out, you're playing these really good teams on. You have a chance to do something big. Like, that's the only thing I could say and think of is that, like, these guys, like, just what an opportunity it is and like how cool it is to be able to like, showcase your talents on this stage,
Yeah. Obviously, and I saw today that the Wild are thinking about moving a goalie, but if you're a goalie in the Wild system, you're stuck behind a pretty big wall right now. And again, that's it as far as it goes for Slovakian hockey. I don't know too much about it. I know that Juraj Slavkovsky, assuming, is going to be there. And maybe a couple other guys that I'm just forgetting to think of. But as far as that goes, I don't see them as that big of a threat. But I don't know. Who knows? So anything can happen. It's hockey.
Yeah, I can't lie. A little bit more underwhelming of a roster than I expected. Only real NHL experience you get: Juraj Slavkovsky, obviously, Martin Pospisil, who plays for the Calgary Flames. You have Tomáš Tatar coming back into the tournament. He's been playing in the Swiss League for a couple of years. Dalibor Dvorsky, rookie for the St. Louis Blues, former first-round pick. You have Simon Nemec of the New Jersey Devils, Martin Faravari of the Washington Capitals, and Eric Chernak of the Tampa Bay Lightning, but really not as good a team as I thought they were, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if we're all set with Slovakia, we'll move on to another one of those hockey powerhouses with Team Sweden. I've had 2 guys circled on the list. First of all, being Lucas Carlsson, one of the youngest players in the Olympic tournament. His first time making the Olympic team. He's only 21 years old. Another one of those cases, like with Oliver Kapanen is how quickly can he adjust to best on best play?
Yeah. Again, just like I mentioned, you're going to be playing with a ton of insanely talented players. I mean, to name Leo Carlson, there's William Nylander, a ton of guys who you just hear their name at the top of every stat in the NHL, picking it up. I mean, obviously, the North American game is the North American game, and the Europeans they're really talented, just as the North Americans are. And I mean, that's why you're playing in the best league, and that's why you're going to go and represent your country. So,
Yeah, not a single non-NHLer on the roster. Sorry to cut you off, Nicky. Go ahead.
No, yeah. Obviously, it's going to be cool to see, for me at least, watching Rasmus Dahlin play. Amazing defenseman, obviously, offensively and defensively. Been a key part to the Sabres doing so well this year. But no, I mean, Sweden's like one of those teams where it's like they could surprise you. They very well could place above, Team USA, or like, it's they have that good of a team where like they're right up there. And yeah, I just think that it's going to be fun to watch these guys all come out here and play, and it's cool to see how far Sweden's come. So
yeah, for sure. The other player that I wanted to mention for Team Sweden was Avalanche captain Gabriel Landeskog. He makes a team this year, but he has missed a lot of time with injury recently, missing, I want to say, 1 or 2 complete seasons. Do we think he's ready to come back to this high stakes of a tournament?
I think he's ready, but he's not going to be able to compete at the level that he once did. I mean, obviously he's playing in the NHL with the Avs right now, but again, this isn't the same Gabriel Landeskog we've seen before that injury. So I feel like that's going to play a factor. But I'd say he's ready, but again, not on the same. He won't be the same as he once was, and I feel like that happens, unfortunately, a lot of the time with players that they get injuries that last that long.
Yeah, I totally agree. Nicky, your thoughts?
yeah, I think it's one of those cases where you don't really know until you watch that first game, and then you could kind of go from there. I mean, obviously, such a good player like before he was injured, or whatever. Was part of that Colorado team for a while. He's been there, but I don't know. I'm interested to see what happens, because it's kind of like similar stories to like other players that are older and like used to play for their country. Like, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. I think probably he'll end up not doing too much out there. I'd be surprised if he, did anything too crazy, but I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. That'll wrap up our talks about Group B. We're going to move on to Group C now, and we see a lot less NHLers and NHL experience within these teams. We'll start with Team Denmark. Only 5 of their players made with are NHLers. You got Senators forward Lars Eller, Kraken forward Oliver Bjorkstrand, Hurricanes forward Nikolai Ehlers, and then Hurricanes goaltender Frederik Andersen, and Ottawa Senators fringe NHL goaltender Mads Sogard.
Yeah, those are all older guys too. Like, those guys have been around the league for a minute. Like, hearing their names and being able to watch them play again, it's gonna be cool, because obviously these guys have like faded into a lesser role on their current NHL team. So for a Denmark team that doesn't have too many NHL stars, it's gonna be cool to see them, kind of play more.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, looking it up, Nicky pretty much mentioned it. Like, Lars Eller and Frederik Andersen are, I'd argue, way past their prime.
Mm-hmm.
Eller obviously spent his prime in Montreal. Anderson, I'd say, Toronto. But these guys, I think this could be and very likely will be their last time repping their country nationally before kind of hanging it up. But again, even though you're a country that won't have many NHLers, the NHLers you're bringing are pretty good. Like, Nikolai Ehlers has a detrimental shot, and I think it'd be cool to see him kind of rip it around with a bunch of Danes on Olympic ice that, again, we don't know if it'll be ready.
Yeah, totally agree. Moving on, we just have a couple more teams to wrap this up. We have Team Germany. Again, only 7 NHLers make the roster. You got Senators forward Tim Stützle, the best German player in all of hockey, Edmonton Oilers forward Leon Draisaitl. Goaltending-wise, you have Seattle Kraken goaltender Philip Grubauer. Then you have Red Wings defenseman Moritz Seider, Vancouver Canucks forward Lucas Reichel, Utah Mammoth forward JJ Peterka, and Minnesota Wild forward Nico Sturm. So not a long list, but obviously kind of top heavy with Leon Draisaitl. Boys, you want to talk about this one?
I think the Germans, they're going to be better than people expect, because obviously if they load their lines properly, you can have your top two lines will have one of Tim Stützle or Leon Draisaitl on it. They might just load them both in the first line. But the names you named off aren't bad players. Like, they're players who are pretty solid. And again, your best 3 players are going to be Draisaitl, Stützle, and Moritz Seider, who are all very good NHLers. And there's really no denying that.
Yeah, kind of going off of what you said, even for for like the Denmark team, how you said, like, these guys are like established NHLers who are, good talent. Like JJ Peterka used to play for Buffalo, like he's on Utah now, and like he's killing it. He plays his role well, and I think Germany like truly has like a good set of players here that like they could utilize, and it's gonna be fun to see. It's one of those teams, like when I saw the roster and I was actually looking through it, I was just like, it's a lot better than I expected to be. And I think it's not as much Draisaitl having to like carry this team all by himself. I feel like he has a little more help than I was anticipating, and I just think it's gonna be nice to see them work together, and it's gonna be good to see like who becomes that like second hand man to him, because like he's kind of like that way on the Oilers with McDavid. Like he feeds him, like vice versa. Like that's how he gets his points. Like it's gonna be cool to see who they pair him with and who he ends up like lighting it up with out there.
Yeah, for sure. Moving on, we're gonna get to Team Latvia. Once again, only 7 NHLers. You got Panthers forwards Sandis Vilmanis and Juvis Belinskis. You have Vancouver Canucks forward Teddy Bluger, Lightning veteran forward Zemgus Girgensons. You have Red Wings forward Edwards Trollmax, and then 2 goaltenders: Blue Jackets backstop Elvis Merzlikins and Penguins backup Arturs Silovs.
And they could have had Rodrigo Abels, but he got injured. Known fourth line center.
I think that Team Latvia is one of the more up and coming nations in the sport of hockey. I think just given the list, a lot of those guys are under 25. Vilmanis, Belinski's younger guys. Silov's also very young. Trollmax kind of inexperienced, but still on the Red Wings NHL roster. And then you have Bluger, Girgensons, and Merzlikins with a little more veteran presence.
Girgensons isn't close to young.
This is true.
Sabres legend, though. He played in an all-star game, so don't disrespect him.
That guy's he's 32.
He's getting up there for sure.
Yeah, I think I think they definitely have a better goaltending group than a lot of these teams, which is, like we talked about, like going to be a really important factor in these Olympics. But I mean, like Merzlikins, solid goalie. He's always been. I don't know. Like I think they're gonna be. I think with that team, like it's gonna be not like as high scoring games as a lot of the other teams. I think they're gonna keep it down a little bit, but it'll be cool to watch, I think.
Yeah, without a doubt. And as we've seen in the past, in a lot of these international tournaments, sorry about that. Latvia has been known to upset a little bit. So with that being said, rounding out Group C, the best team in international hockey, Team USA.
Well, that doesn't seem to be true.
It might be.
There we
Anyways,
go.
the main thing I want to talk about is the injury of Seth Jones and his replacement being Ducks defenseman Jackson Lacombe. You guys want to talk
That was a choice.
about? Yeah,
That was a choice. My first question was: you have Jackson Lacombe, or you have Lane Hudson?
apparently there was like a discourse between Hudson and the Team USA management staff, whatever. So I think there's something we don't know there, but still, he's clearly the better player than Lacombe. No disrespect, but Hudson's one
I
of the best in the NHL.
I think I could have found 6 or 7 guys who are better than Jackson Lacombe.
We did it, boys.
Yeah, I think that like it's supposed to be best on best hockey here, right? So I mean, I don't know what you said's going on behind the scenes or whatever. I don't know if we know the full story, but I feel like letting that impact, you like your final roster for this team and like putting this guy in instead. Like I just think, like personally, like I just don't think it was the right move at all. And I think not that it's going to be like a key decider to whether we win gold or not. I just think that I don't know. I think that it wasn't the best move, but I'm still confident in USA's team, and I think that they have great defensive depth in my opinion. So
No,
know
I
what's going on in
entirely
the chat here down below. I'm not sure what's happening
Yeah,
in chat.
we found the chat feature.
We
On
found the private chat feature, and we're having some goofs.
the inside jokes. You're just floating. But while I have a second to mention this, I do want to talk about how Team USA has a lot of a little bit grittier players. You think the Kachuk brothers, you think JT Miller, guys who aren't afraid to drop the gloves. We think back to the Four Nations face-off and the supposed group chat that they had plotting to fight against Team Canada. But what it's going to come down to is how well will these guys be able to balance the physicality with like actual production and pace of play.
I think they'll be good. Like they'll be all fine. They're NHLers, so they understand that not only are they gonna play their best, they're also doing the best they can to bring their country another Olympic medal.
Yeah. I think like you said, like the toughness aspect of it, like it's cool to see that in hockey, and I think the Kachuk brothers bring that like right to us, like you saw in the Four Nations last year, and I think they're gonna get the boys all fired up, and everyone's gonna be ready to go head to head with these teams. I mean, it's cool to see that I think they just have so much goal scoring ability on this team, which is going to be cool to see too, like on top of their grittiness and whatever. Obviously, like we said, both Caulfield and Robertson aren't on the team, and they still have a lot of goal scorers on that team. I mean, it's just going to be a matter of who shines when the lights are the brightest out there. So
Yeah, definitely. So that wraps up every single team in the Olympics that we could cover. Sorry, Italian hockey fans, if you exist. So just to wrap up the Olympics segment here, let's just give our official predictions as to who medals this year. Zach, you've been sort of taking charge on a lot of these.
Real quick.
Yeah.
I just want to say before we move on, I was wondering your boys' thoughts on Russia still not playing and how that changes everything. Because I personally feel that, like, I know there's a lot of controversies going on with their country and all this and whatever, but I definitely feel that there could have been a way to bring these players to play this best on best. It's not best on best without the Russians, because they are absolutely phenomenal, and they could easily place and win a medal. So I just want to know your thoughts on that.
The only thing I'm going to make earlier, Zach, go ahead.
I was say the only thing I'm going to say, Matvey Michkov. That's all I got to say. That's all I got to say. Michkov's better.
No, he's not. Anyways, that's a point that I did want to make, and I kind of forgot to, is obviously there's still a lot of hot water political-wise as to why Russia isn't being featured in the Olympics. I do want to mention that back in, I want to say it was the
Would
1990
some call it dirty water?
big Boston guy. There's I want to say the 1992 games. They had a unified team with members of what it was at the time the Soviet Union. I think if you sent a team in of Russian players, and I'm trying to word this properly so that I don't get flamed for it. Field a team or ice a team of Russian players, but market them as a team that is not necessarily Russian, then I don't know. I think it could work.
That's what I was thinking too, and it's just one of those unfortunate things that like these players have to suffer the consequences of like their country. And I think that like obviously there's been a lot of countries involved in controversies over the past couple of years and whatever, and still been able to play. And I just think it's just disappointing that you aren't going to be able to see these guys, especially like someone like Ovechkin, who like this would be his last chance to dish it out in that Russian jersey, and like that would be cool for people like us who grew up watching, that back in the day, to play with someone like Matvey Michkov and like all these other Russian guys that are killing it out there.
Nicky's just trying to find an excuse to say the word Matt there because he has a friend named Matt there.
I guess I am.
Yeah. Yeah, but with that being said, let's. The unfortunate truth is we have no real say over this, and Russia's not going to be playing in the Olympics this year. That's a perfect segue into let's medal these teams. Who do we think is going to take gold, silver, and bronze? And Zach's been taking a lot of charge in the conversation, so I want him to go first. I want to hear.
See this?
We know who his pick for gold is.
So there's something about my jersey you guys can't see. There's actually gold etching on the jersey. And with that being said, Canada's taking gold. There's nothing more I would love to see than a gold medal game of Canada and the US. And of course, it's going to be an 8 a.m. gold medal game, which is just brutal. I won't wake up to watch it if Canada's not playing. And I think, predicting, I'm going to say Canada will win gold. And as I said, I would like to see the U.S. in that game, meaning the U.S. would win silver. And I think in the bronze medal game, I'm going to say it'll be Sweden, which is kind of, I guess, basic. But what's not basic about that is, as I said, Finland would medal. If it gets to a point where they have to face the Czechs, I think the Czechs would end up playing Sweden, if that's a possibility, instead of Sweden playing Finland. So I think my top 5 would be Canada, US, Sweden, Czech, Finland.
That's awesome. I love that. Nicky.
All right, so I like his predictions, but I mean, personally, like genuinely just looking at this from like an unbiased point of view, right? Like Canada and USA favorites to win. But I just personally feel that the USA and all those guys that were on the Four Nations, like they are bloodthirsty for revenge against this team, and it's became like even more so of a rivalry, and it's that much more personal. And I see USA pulling it off in a close game. So I would give USA gold, Canada silver, and I'm gonna go with Finland for bronze here. I think that they have good goaltending depth with obviously UPL in goal. Like he's my guy. I'm gonna root for him. UC Saros, like they have a good squad in front of them, and I think that the goaltending would give them an edge over some of these other teams. And although like you could argue that Sweden would place over them, I think it's the Finns year instead of Sweden.
Definitely. My initial prediction was a little bit more similar to Zach's in that I had Canada winning my gold medal. But as much as we talked about it throughout the episode, talking about how important your goaltending is and how important the backstopping is, it all comes down to goaltending. And I think pound for pound, Connor Hellebuyck, Jake Ottinger, Jeremy Swayman, that's a better three trio is the word I was looking for, than Binnington, Aiden Hill, the other one who I honestly forget. It's not Montembeau this year. Regardless, so give me the USA taking gold, Canada taking a close silver. It's going to be a very close game, and honestly, cannot wait to watch it. And then in that bronze medal, I agree with Nicky. Give me Finland. I really like the roster they've put together. I think they're extremely deep, and I'm excited to see what they can do. So that's going to do it for our Olympic segment. Before we wrap this up, there's other sports that we cover here, so we'll save football for last, just because there's a lot of fun banter that we can get into with football. Baseball's out of season right now, but that doesn't mean that there's not a lot happening. Zack, I'd like to start by congratulating the Toronto Blue Jays on their AL title. Sorry it didn't go your way in the World Series. That was an incredible series that I think we all really enjoyed watching.
It's always the Dodgers, man. It's always the Dodgers.
7-game series that came down to a Miggy Rowe home run. Just the most unlikely of heroes. But Zack, if you want to comment on how the Blue Jays have been doing since then in their off season.
Yeah, that's obviously still, like, I'd say heartbreaking. I've been a Jays fan since, say, 4, 5 years old. So that whole postseason run was kind of insane to have click together. I was lucky enough to go to 2 playoff games. Game 1 of the ALDS, where the Jays just made the Yankees their son, and I feel like that was the theme of the series. Sorry, Nicky. We just own you. And obviously, I got to see Game 6. I got to see Game 6 of the ALCS against Seattle, which forced a Game 7, which was pretty sick. Yeah, that was a ton of fun. And obviously, the World Series went to the World Series went. But I think the whole season, for a team that everyone predicted to be 4th or 5th, I don't know if we go look back at the season predictions in the previous pod, I definitely had the Red Sox and Yankees above the Jays, which hurt me to do. And coming down to game 162 of the season, the Jays did what they had to do and won. So they ended up taking the East. And I guess that whole postseason run felt special because for a group of guys that weren't your best, like a Dodger team, kind of came together. And I mean, we have a new MLB postseason hit leader, and that's my boy, Ernie Clement. 30 hits in a single postseason. Hasn't been done before, clearly. So clearly he's doing something right. But as for the offseason signings, the Jays missed out on another big fish, Kyle Tucker. But I feel like with the money, be whatever. I think obviously you miss out on a big signing, but kind of having someone go, Bo Bichette, it's going to be weird next year when he's not starting at short. I own multiple pieces of Bo merch, so that probably hurt. And I mean, the Mets obviously signed with the Mets. The Mets come to Toronto this year towards the end of June, and it's a series that starts on June 28th. And ironically enough, it'll end on Canada Day, so Bo gets to play another Canada Day in Toronto, which is pretty cool. They signed third baseman or cornerman, Japanese or KBO player Kazuma Okamoto, who is a World Baseball Classic champ, and I think that's also something we could bring up after the fact that WBCs around this year should be fun. As for Canada, they won't do much because, well, look at the other countries. But yeah, the Jays also signed Dylan Cease. That was pretty cool. He should be pretty awesome. And I think the guy I'm most excited for on my team, there's been a lot of yapping. Obviously Vladdy, but really excited to see a full season of Trey Savage because that guy is a monster. I'm excited for him.
Yeah, he's good.
If you guys don't know Trey Savage, he was a Blue Jays draft pick, and after being drafted the following full season, he started the year in low A, and and made a World Series start. So let that sink in. He went from low A up to the MLB in about 5-ish months. So pretty
That's
insane. The guy
incredible.
has awesome stuff. And another signing the Jays made was Tyler Rogers. So you're going to have your Savage, who's the highest release point in baseball, to the lowest in a submarine pitcher like Tyler Rogers. So that'll be cool. Yeah, very excited for the Jays. Hopefully Santander comes back healthier. I mean, the whole Jays team kind of just got the injury bug towards the end of the year, obviously. But what happened. They beat the Yankees, and the Yankees suck. So, yeah, that's my Blue Jays baseball rant.
Nicky, I'm going to poke in here. I don't want to step on your toes a little bit because I know you're going to talk about your Yankees. But I do want to talk about the Red Sox first, just because I think they share a lot of similarities other than the championship to the Blue Jays. We also missed out on the major free agents that we wanted to get. We really wanted Pete Alonso. He obviously went to the
And
Baltimore
he somehow
Orioles.
stayed in our division or got into our division and went to none of our teams.
Yep. We also missed out on bringing back Alex Bregman after saying that he wanted to keep playing in Boston. No trade clause was not offered by the Red Sox, but he was able to get that in Chicago, so the Cubs got a good one. You also have to take into account that he's a Scott Boras client, so they're kind of unpredictable.
Yeah.
Coming off of an AL wild card, a hard-fought wild card loss to Nicky's New York Yankees. An injury-prone Red Sox team is going to come into a 2026 season with a bit of a bolstered rotation. We lose Lucas Giolito, but other than that, we bring in Sonny Gray, great veteran arm, as well as Ranger Suarez from the Phillies, who I'm really excited to see in Boston.
You should be excited for him. He's a pretty darn good ball player.
He is a dog, and he is one of the pieces that I'm most excited for this Red Sox rotation. We needed a lefty, so I'm really glad to have him.
What do you mean you needed a lefty?
I mean, I feel like we just having the 1-2 punch of lefties with him and Crochet, I think it's great for us.
I was gonna say he's Garrett Crochet.
This is true.
I feel like he works as two lefties.
Okay. You know what? All right. Anyways, the other thing that we do, only major off-season acquisition was trading for Wilson Contreras to play first base.
That's right. I forgot about that.
An interesting move, to say the least. Obviously, we missed out on Pete Alonso. We weren't able to get Kyle Schwarber. But I think that he's going to play a fine first base. I really like Wilson Contreras. Obviously, he won a World Series in 2016 with the Cubs, but he's going to be a decent piece to round out the infield. And I'm really excited for this season because we get to see a full season of Roman Anthony, hopefully a full season of Marcelo Meyer if he can stay healthy. We're going to see more of young guys with talent. If we keep Wilyer Abreu in the system, I'm really excited to see more of him. I'm really excited to see more of Cedar Rafaela. The only thing that's really up in the air for me is what we're going to do with our fourth outfielder, because we still have Roman, Cedar, Wilyer, and Jarren Duran. And it's just a matter of which one of those players we lose. And considering that Duran entirely went cold at the end of the season, it wouldn't surprise me if we moved him. But other than that,
before Nicky goes, I was going to ask this. Obviously, the Red Sox or Yankees would play the Jays. If the Red Sox were to have beat the Yankees, do you think they would have had a shot against the Jays?
No, because the team that we fielded against New York was already riddled with question marks, injuries, all that. We didn't start Wilyer Abreu in 2 of the 3 games, and obviously the first one we squeaked out a win, but the second one we fell pretty hard. We also did not have Roman Anthony or Marcelo Meyer for the entire series, and I think that those two are entirely vital to team success. Young, fresh faces to see, and they hit really well in Yankee Stadium, by the way. But Toronto, just an incredible team this past year. The 1-2-3 at bats with or not even 1-2-3, but really it's more of a 1-2 between Vladdy and George Springer, and then you have so much depth. Guys like Alejandro Kirk who can execute.
It's my
and then
goat.
your younger guys, you have your Ernie Clements, your Addison Bargers, your Nathan Lucases. Really just a team of scrappy, almost sabermetrics type guys that are really coming around in the sport. And I don't think that the Red Sox could have held their own against such a well put together team. Much respect to y'all.
I'll give, as much as I hate the Yankees, I'll give Nicky this. I don't know. It might have been the first time where a team went, like, they lost the first game of this newly formatted 3-game wildcard series, lost game 1, and came back to win both of the other games. So I guess shout out to you on that, if that's all the nice things I can say about the Yankees.
Thanks, Zach.
Yeah. Well, I'll go right into it then. Starting off, I wanted to touch on, like you were talking about the Blue Jays and obviously Bo Bichette leaving. Like, I think it's interesting what the decision he ended up making and whatever. Because, like, I watched a lot of those Blue Jays guys play in their early days in Buffalo because they play, obviously Buffalo for the AAA Bison's team.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think, like, it was cool watching all those guys, like him, Vladdy, like these guys, like growing up into these like good players. And I think Bo Bichette was always one of those guys that I looked at was like he was a cool guy, and like even in Buffalo, like I always thought he was a cooler, dude. Just the way he plays, the way he dresses, the way he acts, like how his hair looks. Like I just thought he was a cool guy, and I think that I was kind of surprised by him kind of going for the money route outside of Toronto because, like, I know how much the city loved him there. Like, every time I've been to Toronto, like, you could tell how much he meant to them. And the fact that they were just so close to, and then he's leaving, like, I think that part of this business is just always something that I won't get, and I don't think you do get it unless you are the player. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? I was wondering, like, how do you feel about him as a player after seeing like him leaving like that?
I mean, obviously, we know very well, none of us are Leaf fans, but the city of Toronto in general, how they gave the response to Mitch Marner in his first game back, I don't think that's how it's going to be when Bo comes back. I think he should get applauded. Bo hit a 3-run home run in Game 7 against the Dodgers of the World Series. Marner didn't do much in the playoffs, so obviously things are different. Obviously, he was a homegrown guy. He came up in our system, was drafted by us, and he did everything that he could for the team. Me and many Jays fans say he saved the season. The Jays, or he was actually hurt. The Jays were in a series in Texas in May, and no one knew what the team was going to be like. And that series, I think both teams scored a combined maybe 10 runs, and maybe even less. But in the top of the ninth, the Jays were down 1-0, and Bo came up to the plate and hit a 2-run homer over the left field wall. And ever since then, the whole entire season kind of just shifted for the Jays. Mm-hmm. So I guess that's what you could say saved the season. But no, it sucks that he left. He wasn't a great defender, which I guess the Jays would work on more in that stop or that position now. But Andres Jimenez is the shortstop now, and he's a really good defender, and his bat could be useful. He's not a power hitting guy. Won't go hit you 20, 30 home runs like Bichette could have. But it's upsetting he's gone. But again, you said it's a business. The fans love him. So hopefully when he comes back, he gets that standing O and round of applause that he deserves.
Yeah.
I do want to No, go ahead.
Okay, well, I was just going to touch on the Yankees briefly. I mean, I don't have much to say other than obviously the series with Boston was so cool. Like, playing Boston and Toronto, like, those are the two series that, like, these teams hate each other. Like, and it's conveniently all three of our teams that were, like, involved with playing one another. But I thought in that Boston series that the Yankees, I felt like they were holding on for dear life at a lot of times, and I felt like I was surprised by how Boston was able to win that game 1, and then I was impressed how the Yankees won those next 2. But then I think no matter which one of us came out of that, like we said, going and like playing Toronto, like I think they were just on such a roll. Like you could tell there was just genuinely such a, like, it wasn't even close. Like the Jays were winning that 10 times out of 10. And is like, and it's not like I hate the Jays or anything. So like, I don't even care to admit it. I'm just a Yankees fan. But I like props to them. It was a good series. Me and my buddies were trying to go to Toronto to catch one of the games because I felt like that would be cool. But they didn't get a chance to. But I think that the way their season ended is a lot like prior seasons. Like they can never just get the job done. There's always a team standing in their way. But I think this year, like I have higher hopes for them. Obviously, the AL East is such a good division, and they just re-signed Bellinger, which I was super happy about. Wasn't sure if they were going to do it. But yeah, I hope to watch more of them this year. I didn't really watch too much of them last year, but until like the end of the season. But I think they're going to be a pretty good team. I think it's going to be Blue Jays or Yankees making it out, in my opinion. So let's hope the tables turned this year.
I think overall that whole AL East, as crazy as it was this year, coming down to game 162, it's going to be so much worse next year when Baltimore is fully healthy. They're going to be a really good team next year, and I mean, I think I would even consider this an off year for them. They still have all the tools. They've Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman, Pete Alonso now. Like their team's going to be really good. Jackson Holiday, like they're going to be good, and I think the AL East is going to be even more of a bloodbath this year than it was this past year. So
I will say the Orioles do have a couple holes in the roster. They lost their two main outfielders in Austin Hayes
It's
and
true.
Cedric Mullins, and Anthony Santander. With that being said, but like it's not like they don't have the depth of guys. Now they have Pete Alonso. Even behind Adley Rutschman, they still have Samuel Basayo, and then in the infield they still have Gunnar Henderson, Jackson Holiday. They're a young team. They're a fun team, and I think it's all going to come down to what they can do in the outfield. Can we write off the Rays? The Rays they just don't look great. No disrespect. They have a great
as a Blue Jays fan, it feels hard to write off the Rays just because obviously you guys would see this as well, but they managed to, pardon my French, they managed to pull pitchers out of their ass. Like they just could get the most random guy. He'll go out on the mound and shove 7 innings 2-hit ball, and they just found him out of nowhere. And that's what they do really well. Their pitching's really good, but the offense is kind of there.
They're another one of those teams that sort of they just grab guys out of nowhere and they just execute almost Moneyball style of baseball. They're not flashy or anything, but they're still going to go out there and win 75, 80 games. They're not a bad baseball team. They are outclassed by every team in the American League East, and it's honestly sad. It's sad to look at.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned Cedric Mullins, and funny enough, he's in the Rays now. So
yes,
staying in the division, and he's no rookie to the division. So there's that. But I don't know. Should be a fun year of baseball overall, especially in the AL East, though.
I agree.
I don't want to. We're getting over an hour here, and this is going to be a total bitch to edit. So I don't want to go too deep into this, but Zach, I just want to ask. Obviously, Nicky and I are going to pull for Team USA in the World Baseball Classic. Who are you rooting for other than Canada?
It's going to be a controversial say here, but I'm Jewish. I'm proud of it. Team Israel is going to be my other team I'm going to go for.
Okay.
Couple cool players who are going to play for them. Baltimore's Dean Kramer. It's always fun to watch. Jock Peterson should be playing for Team Israel. And speaking of which, Alex Bregman. I don't know if he's going to play for Israel, but
I was actually about to mention that. Bregman declared for Team USA, and I was going to ask what your thoughts on
there
him.
you go. He's American, so obviously he's going to give the upper hand there, but he is Jewish. A lot of cool Jewish ball players that you would know. Max Fried on the Yankees, he's Jewish. It's cool. I'll root for them. I'll root for Canada, and I guess in this case, I'll root for all the Jays that are playing. So the DR could be a fun watch, obviously. Vlad. Team Japan will be cool to watch because Okamoto's playing for them. And Kirk's playing for Mexico.
George Springer declared
Springer for
Puerto Rico, I want to say.
Puerto Rico, yeah. And I don't know, there should be a bunch of cool Jays who are playing all over the place. If all the Blue Jays go to the countries that they can, there should be, I think, 10 of them this year.
Wow.
So, could be cool.
So, we'll wrap this up talking about football because we had a little discourse before this. before we actually recorded, just going into it about our football teams. Nicky, since your team didn't decide to qualify for a title game, let's start with you. Go ahead, rant about the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot to say. I feel like a broken record every year with the Bills. They fall short again this time, not to Mahomes, but to a Bo Nix that doesn't live to see another playoff game himself, even because of his injury. Um, I don't know, man. It's just so unfortunate, and it's like you think that this year they're finally going to get over the hump. I mean, who's really standing in your way when you're looking at it before the postseason starts?
You
Like,
sound like a
no
Leaf
Mahomes.
fan.
Dude, there's a lot of similarities between the Bills and the Leafs, man. I'll tell you. But
The Leafs have championships.
okay, like 100 years ago.
Yeah.
But
I
anyways,
wouldn't.
back to what I was saying.
I never thought I'd see the day where Brady would defend the Leafs saying they have championships, but here we are.
Hey man,
Right.
football. I've been getting into football this year.
So it's just one of those things where, like, who do you blame at this point? Because obviously they've literally been in the playoffs for now 7 straight years, and they haven't gotten past the AFC Championship and gone into the bowl. And it's just like, what's the problem here? And I think that a lot of it is on the defense. I think that we always give up way too many points. Not necessarily in that game, but I just like that game, the Broncos game. I would say a lot of it was on Josh. I think he didn't play as well as he has in some of his prior playoff games. But I mean, he has phenomenal playoff stats. A lot of his losses are not on him; it's the defense and a lot of other factors. Obviously, we have no wide receiver depth. We had 2 wide receivers get injured in the Jacksonville game alone. So obviously, we were running short there. And it's like you can't use that as an excuse because you also have James Cook and Josh Allen. Like, these guys are absolute beasts. But it's disappointing. And then they fire McDermott, who I didn't even think was necessarily the problem. But I mean, I guess it's time for a change because we haven't made it there where we want to be yet. So I think next year and this offseason is going to be interesting because obviously all these teams that missed out on the playoffs are getting healthier again, and they're going to be, right back where they were, and it's just going to be even tougher for the Bills. And like, I don't want to say their window's closed, but it's looking like their window's closing.
Totally.
So let's talk about the Super Bowl teams now.
Zach, I wanna go out here and make my case because I know both of you have totally valid reasons to hate the New England Patriots. And I want to talk a little bit about how, while we may have had on paper a Mickey Mouse run to the Super Bowl, I want to talk. I want to give a little bit of a case. So first of all, the team had an easy schedule. So what? We still managed to put up good point differentials in most games. Drake May looked like a stud. The defense looked really good. No real holes in the roster going into the wild card round. The Chargers were not the hardest team to play. Great defense, and Justin Herbert's pretty good at football. Regardless, got through them pretty easy. The Texans, I'm not going to lie, they were a challenge. That's one of, if not the best defense in the NFL. And it was a low-scoring game. We were easy to go through it. And you may say that, oh, they played a team without Nico Collins, but, I mean, I think that the Patriots would have won that game even if Nico Collins was in the game. I don't think that C.J. Stroud was on his best game there. And going into the AFC title game, this is one of the final points I'll make. The AFC title game, we played against the Broncos. They didn't have Bo Nix. They had Jarrett Stidham. They scored 1 touchdown and a field goal and then didn't score the rest of the game. And you can blame Stidham for that. But the team around him didn't look that great. And they had a good defense. We only scored 10 points to their 7. So there was a lot of missed kicks in that game. Weather could have played a factor. But I also think that starting in the divisional round and going into the championship game, the team didn't look great. The Patriots didn't look great. We obviously we executed. We did a fine job, but we didn't look great. There's a huge hole in our offensive line. As much as I love Will Campbell off the field, he's not good at football. So he honestly he was made to look stupid in some of the plays where they would try to blitz. As for that, the defense didn't look great in the AFC title game. But regardless, even if the path looks bad, we have an AFC title on our hands. We made it to the Super Bowl, and there's nothing that anyone can do to take that away from us. Zack has said that in the chat that he will speak next, so I can only imagine where this is going. I'm going to sit back.
So it's where I've just been thinking about this. Like, obviously, I watch some of the games with my friends, and obviously, even if my team's not playing, I think I watched every Patriots game with my buddy, funny enough, also named Brady, also a Patriots fan. He's a huge Pats fan, and it feels like every Patriots playoff game I watched was like the most boring game or just a really bad game. Like the game against the Chargers, like nothing really insane happened. Like it was a whatever. I went to watch at a bar or whatever. It's not a game that I would sit there and like, oh my God, I need to focus on this Patriots game. And then the game against the Texans, I look at the TV, there's a turnover. I look back and there's another turnover. It was just turnover central that game. Like it's like no one wanted the ball. And then obviously yesterday's game against Denver, Jared Stidham, whatever, very low scoring game. I feel like that case is different for a little bias for my Seattle Seahawks who are going to the bowl to face Brady's Patriots. But for the first time since Seattle was last in the Super Bowl, which was almost 10 years ago, 10 or more. And of course, it's going to be a rematch for Seattle. So that should be a ton of fun. But I feel like every playoff game, I mean, not every, we only played 2 games. It was cool. Seattle got to play both their division rivals in the playoffs and beat them both. So haven't been this excited about the Hawks in a while. Gone through some holes and some stumps. But while it does sound biased, I think it sounds biased, but I think it's also the right choice. I think Seattle is going to get their revenge and take what's theirs and knock off New England in the bowl.
Yeah, let's hope they could run the ball this time.
Okay,
Yeah,
we didn't need to mention. We didn't need to mention that. We have Kenneth Walker, who's been insane, but Seattle losing their second running back, Zach Charbonnet, against the Niners was not fun. But no, we trust in Kenneth Walker. Brady got to mention his player and his team having a great season. My turn. Jackson Smith and Jigba, JSN, my favorite Seahawk. He's just had an insane season, something unheard of. Like if he didn't have one of those bad games against the Rams where Darnold threw 4 picks, I think he would have broken Calvin Johnson's wide receiver receiving yards record. But we can also take a moment to talk about our boy Soldier Sam Darnold. So he's the first quarterback out of the 2018 draft class to start a Super Bowl. Brady's camera just went off, but I thought he crashed. Sam Darnold is starting in a Super Bowl before Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. Bills fan, what do we think about that?
Listen, there was no one who was more shocked than me to see how well Sam Darnold's been playing. I mean, he had a great year with the Vikings, obviously, too, in the year prior. But, I mean, there was a lot of questions when he came to Seattle, whether or not, like, he would be the guy to be able to do it. Because, obviously, with Geno as their quarterback, like, they were, like, a pretty mid team. They still had a lot of, like, they showed a lot of flashes of, you know, the team that they are right now. But I mean, it's props to him. He's playing like an elite quarterback, and you know he's got to prove it all on the big stage at the Super Bowl. I think that the Seahawks team is just so good, man, and I think it's not even going to be close, and I can't wait to watch the Patriots' demise.
Yeah, Oh, that's where he went. You know what? Like, I was gonna put my JSN jersey on, but I played football today in the snow and it's wet, so I'm not gonna go do that now. But
there was a million rebuttal points I can make about your Seahawks are better rant, but I think I'll pass.
so I'll say this: Seattle. Not only did they kind of just like have a great season, they also made some key moves. I mean, getting Rashid Shaheed for a 3rd-round pick. That's pretty insane. And Shaheed's been nothing shy of awesome for Seattle so far this year. Obviously, Nicky, your team not in the Super Bowl, but still somehow makes the playoffs every year and crunches under that same.
Somehow, it's number 17. That's how.
Okay, they make it, but even without Burrow, Lamar Jackson, or Patrick Mahomes, still found a way to not get to the Super Bowl because Drake May has found his way there, and I thought it would have
If
been.
we played the Patriots, we would have won.
I thought it would have been really funny with the with Bo Nix being injured if Seattle beat the Rams and the Patriots lost to the Broncos, and Darnold obviously dealing with an oblique injury. How funny would it have been if we saw Jared Stidham versus Drew Lock in the Super Bowl?
That would be
Like that.
incredible.
That would have been hilarious.
I'm not even gonna lie and say that the Patriots it would have been a more competitive game if it were against Drew Lock. It would have been funny. That would have been hilarious to see Drew Lock against the Broncos too. God.
Yeah. I don't know, but pumped for the Super Bowl. Should be a good one.
I'll wrap this little segment up just by saying that regardless of how the game goes, obviously I'm gonna pull for Drake May, and the New England Patriots to win number 7. But if the Seahawks manage to pull off the win, I won't be upset. Zach, you're going through it with your sports teams, man. I want to see you get a title.
It's been bad. This is the 3rd sports team to make the finals for me within the past 5 years. Those previous 2 haven't won.
Yeah,
so
you keep getting beat up on by the Celtics and
the year the Heat went to the finals, they beat the Celtics. So I don't want to.
Yeah, and then we've beat them every year since. I'm pretty sure.
No,
regardless.
Let me say something real quick. That year, watching the Heat, like I was never into basketball before that. That 2023 playoff, like, oh my god.
I had Nicky texting me every single day, and I'm like, Nicky, I'm so scared, and I just don't know how to tell you that.
Cinema. I got myself a freaking Miami Butler jersey. Like, I know he's on the freaking.
I was gonna say, you mean the Warrior?
But it's just like, man, that was just some truly great basketball, and it would have been crazy for them to win.
Regardless, Miami losing to Denver, the Jays losing to the Dodgers, and hopefully my Hawks can pull through. I got faith in my boys, the blue and green, the 12s, and I think it'd be cooler for Seattle to win, just because Seattle, obviously the Super Bowl's being held in Santa Clara. Seattle beat the Niners in Santa Clara Week 18 to win the NFC West and the 1 seed, left cigars in the visiting locker room in San Fran, then beat the Niners again in the divisional, who are obviously division opponent, then beat the Rams, who are also a divisional rival in the NFC Championship. And how cool would it be to top that all off by winning a Super Bowl on your division rivals field?
It would be really cool and cinematic, but
it'd be awesome.
They're going to
win. Brady, you don't know the power of the dark side, bro.
Yeah, you said that before. You don't know the power of Drake May.
It's fun in games till he sees what happens on the dark side.
I don't
what a division that is too, by the way.
Yeah, the NFC West is like that meme. You know that meme with the 4 dragons and the 3 of them are like really, really scary, and the one's just like a little cute one. That cute one's the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah.
So
it's a good comp.
What's that?
No, but final thought, Super Bowl is going to be a really fun game until Marcus Jones picks off Sam Darnold, starting the inevitable collapse of the Seattle Seahawks.
So Sam Darnold actually threw for 350 in the championship game. That's all. And no picks. So
good for him. Good for him.
He's been playing good.
Pats have been slow playing their opponents. Anyways, I think that's gonna do it for another little reunion episode of the Benders podcast. Nicky and Zack, thank you as always so much for doing this. Folks watching at home, if we have any viewers, if you want to see more content like this, like, comment, subscribe, follow us on Instagram at BendersPod. And who knows, maybe we'll decide to start being consistent, rolling out some more content as the NHL season wraps up. Maybe we'll have to do a little post-Olympics debrief, if that sounds agreeable to y'all.
Yeah, I think we could get a little something going here. I mean, it's always fun recording and maybe promote a little more, market a little bit on socials, and see what we could do, because it's always fun. I think we do some good stuff here.
Yep.
Yeah. So with that being said, that's going to do it for our Benders podcast part 4. Alongside Zack Steinman and Nicky Moses, Brady Dennison signing off. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a wonderful
Go Hawks!
rest of your day. Boo, 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 boo.